Hey everybody out there, welcome back to this week's Dark Avenger comic book review. Mike made a comment, I want to make it really quick. He said that he noticed my eyes are floating this way and that way and this way and that way. For those of you who don't know, I'm recording this pretty late at night. I was talking to my girlfriend Cindy, so I decided not to leave my laptop in my room, so she's watching me as I'm shooting this, so if my eyes tend to wander, sorry about that. I'm going to try to stay focused. Sorry about that, guys. For part one, for those of you who are wondering, what's Chris doing? What's this? Yeah. So anyway, Wolverine 306, another book that kind of, it doesn't do it for me. This story arc just, I want to like it. I don't like the cover, first of all. The cover is really rude. But it's all about Dr. Rot. He's going after Dr. Rot, and he's looking for leads, and there's some gruesome stuff here from Dr. Rot's father. The agents are still trying to figure out if it's Wolverine that really sliced the brains out of the people from the last issue. They go to Wolverine's ex-girlfriend, and she actually tells them, oh, Dr. Rot. Well, somewhere else, Wolverine is actually looking for Dr. Rot. He comes into contact with the father in a very gruesome kind of thing. I don't want to say anything about that. And the father says, I'll tell you, but you gotta kill me. You gotta, yeah. And you'll know why if you're reading this. So he tells him where Dr. Rot is. He goes there. Nice house. Very nice house that Dr. Rot lives in. And comes into contact with three people. One guy with a chainsaw for a hand, crazy girl, and crazy guy. And there's a huge fight that goes on. I want to try to find a good page to show artwork where it's not so gruesome. But yeah, one guy doesn't make it out, and he actually says something. He says like I don't know if it's a poem or if it's a line from a song, and it kind of like knocks Wolverine out, so to speak, or he just like, alright, we'll cover that page, kind of like phases him a bit, and he's completely frozen in time. It's probably something that, because Dr. Rot worked on Weapon X. So it was something that he put subliminally in Wolverine's mind, probably, that shut him down. He wakes up, he's already strapped to a chair, and now Dr. Rot wants to help him. How, I have no idea, and it's to be continued. Definitely the weakest story thus far in the Wolverine series, in my opinion. I'm liking Wolverine, don't get me wrong, but thus far, this is the weakest story. I can't wait for this story to be over just so we can get to another one. Hulk issue 51. One more part of this to go because they're already pushing for the next story arc. We didn't even finish this one yet. But anyway, Red Hulk is looking for a fall, a waterfall, so to speak. And if he goes into the water, it's supposed to take away or cleanse him from all the spirits that have been haunting him, and the spirits are trying to stop him. And actually, the person who sent these spirits to haunt Hulk sends the Forgiven after him. The Forgiven are a bunch of vampires who no longer, how do I explain this? I think they explained it best in the beginning here. Separate himself from the vampire faction, forged his own way. He now has a small clan of his own, the Forgiven. They don't drink blood, but that doesn't mean they don't bite. So, I guess that means they fight, but they don't actually drink blood. Yeah, vampires, here we go all over again. No, thank God they're only in one part. So they go after Red Hulk because they're told that Red Hulk, they're actually lied to, and are told that Red Hulk is like the bad guy. So there's a huge fight between them and Red Hulk, which is pretty good. Red Hulk actually finally finds the falls, which I'll actually show that picture. It's a really epic page, by the way. He jumps into the ocean, or the pool, so to speak. He gets cured. All the spirits go away. They're like, "But we'll always be with you." Doesn't matter. Red Hulk comes out. The Forgiven come out, and they're like, "We were obviously lied to, and that gives you one favor. If you ever need us, just call us." And he's like, "Yeah, where am I going to call you?" Then Doctor Strange comes back and says he thinks he has a solution to the Red Hulk's problems, but it lies with a vampire and a few different monsters. Turns out there's a next issue. Here's the cover for the next issue, enough said. Yeah. Vampires, werewolves, mummies, thing from the Black Lagoon. Why every time I pick up a book do they have to involve monsters in some shape or form? I like it though. It's really good. I'm looking forward to this story's ending and the new story's beginning. The Mayan one looks really interesting also. So I'll be sticking with Hulk. As far as Incredible Hulk goes, as I told you guys, Michael is going to be taking up Incredible Hulk because the Punisher's involved. If the story picks up, then I'll keep it. If the story doesn't, then it's going to go... If I don't like what I'm seeing when Mike's reviewing it, it goes bye-bye. Next up, a comedic comic. This was comedic this month. Absolutely. Avenging Spider-Man issue 7 with She-Hulk. In this issue, he's teaming up with She-Hulk. They're going to a museum event, and it involves a cat goddess. They're putting stuff on display, and these people who are in a cult and believe that they should have the relic because they're going to resurrect this cat goddess, try to steal it. She-Hulk stops them, and so does Spidey. And good artwork, really good artwork. I really enjoyed this book, don't get me wrong, but it's very comedic. And then the cat statue does something to She-Hulk, and I'm giving you guys a bit of a spoiler here. She grows a tail, or a cat tail, for the rest of the issue, and it was so much. She's like, "Don't say a word to Spider-Man." And he just has his mouth shut. He's like, "It's so cute." But yeah, so it's up to Spider-Man and She-Hulk to stop whatever is happening. A bunch of cats get together and boom, cat goddess, and she wants to rule the world and protect it. Stop laughing, Michael.
She has a cat tail. I can't help it.
Alright, well, she has a cat tail, and oh, you think that's funny? Wait, I'm gonna get... So this cat goddess comes back. I forgot her name. Doesn't even give her name. I forgot her name. Whatever, it's some Egyptian goddess. She-Hulk tries to fight her, but she can't because every time she hits her, a little kitten gets knocked off. So they have to figure out a way to show her that the world is safe because it has heroes already and it doesn't need to be ruled by a gigantic cat goddess. Spider-Man does this. Bullhead. It's a fake bullhead. And he plays, oh god, Sobek, S-O-B-E-K. Okay. And he explains to her that the world is safe because he's protecting it already. And she's like, is this true? And She-Hulk's like, yeah, definitely, sure, definitely, true, yeah. And she leaves. She's like, okay, I see the world is safe, and he's gone. And then there's a whole big joke at the very end. And yes, my favorite Avenging Spider-Man thus far. Next to the Omega Effect, this book makes Avenging Spider-Man worth reading. This was the best. Last episode I told you FF was good for laughs. This was very good for laughs. And it comes with a free digital download. So I have it on my iPod Touch also to read whenever I want. This was so good. For laughs, it was very good. Okay, we're going to leave this now. All the laughs, ha-has are behind us. We're going into something serious. Captain America and Hawkeye, issue 630. I was wrong. This is not the last part with Captain. That's part of the team-up with Hawkeye. There's one more part to go. We find out who's behind the whole dinosaurs or the entities taking over human beings. We find out that these people are not exactly all legit. They're working for a different company, and they're hoping that Captain Hawkeye actually are killed where they're at. And basically the rest of the book is a pretty big fight. The artwork is alright. It's 50-50, I'd say. I enjoyed it, and then it turns out Cap finds out who it is, and also you find out that how the things possess people. They need human hosts, but the problem is if you kill the human host, apparently it can't continue on. Okay, what's the name of this thing? Stegron. Stegron? If anybody knows who Stegron is, there you go. And he explains how there was a civilization down there at one time. There was a war. They all died. Now he wants to bring them back. And something happens to Cap, which I'm going to leave out for now. But Hawkeye is alone. They get separated in the middle of the fight because Hawkeye doesn't listen to Cap for Jack Diddley. And yeah, we find out that Hawkeye comes face to face with Cap again, but something's happened to Cap. To be continued. Loving it. I'm loving it. Can't wait for the next team up actually, which is going to be with Iron Man. And they announced in August the .1 is going to be with Namor. So I'm going to keep the Captain America team up books for now. Two really good team-up books. One is funny this week, but one is really good. The next issue of Avenging Spider-Man, I believe, has Doesn't say. Doctor Strange and Silver Sable. I think this is I think it's the epilogue to World's End, or to the Ends of the Earth, or whatnot. This was really good though. Sticking with Captain America for one more issue, Captain America 11. New story arc. We're moving away from the depowered Captain America. Finally, this was very good. Captain America is working with the Witness Protection Program. A lot of the ex-Hydra agents or whatever go into a Witness Protection Program. The ones that have been rehabilitated, or the ones that rat out certain faction. Like, let's say a Hydra agent rats out where the Hydras are because he wants to give up a life for crime or whatnot. They go into a Witness Protection Program. And apparently, there's a new Scorn. I believe his name is Scorn, or Scourge, or... Hold on. I hate when I screw up names. Scourge. I was right. Turns out there's a new Scourge, and somebody gave him the Witness Protection Program records of the past year at least. Beautiful artwork. Awesome artwork. I'm loving Captain America now that we moved away from everything. So Scourge is going around killing all... also Diamondback is in this, who's now working for S.H.I.E.L.D., for those of you who didn't know already. And it's up to Captain America to find out who did it. Turns out there's Hydra, who didn't see this coming, Hydra agents working in the Witness Protection Program who actually gave Scourge the list. And in the very end, it turns out that Diamondback might actually know who Scourge is. To be continued. Really good. Captain America's working with the S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're going to find out who the new Scourge is. Scourge, this is a copycat though, because the original Scourge, I believe, was killed or had died in a past story arc. I'm not too sure. Cap is completely brand new to me. I've never read a Cap book until the Captain America series started up again, and now the 630th issue of Cap and Hawkeye. I've not been around for 630 issues, that's for sure. So Scourge is going through the Witness Protection Program, and he's eliminating every single ex-Hydra or whatever other faction they were from, and he's killing them all off. He's like a vigilante. He's like the Punisher to the extreme. Let's put it that way. He kills anybody, even if they're trying to start over again, start a new life. He kills them. Looking forward to seeing where this story arc is going. It's really good. If you guys want to jump on to Cap, here's your issue right here. This is your jumping on point. Really good. Really, really good. Okay. Avengers vs. X-Men Part 3 just happened. This takes place right after where Scott Summers actually says, I know where we can go to find a working Cerebro, Wolverine and the X-Men number 10. Scott Summers goes to the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning, and he's looking for refuge for a little while. And at first Wolverine's like, you want to get snicked? And yeah, Wolverine lets him stay for a while, because actually Scott is trying to convince Wolverine. He's like, you were the best X-Men. You couldn't say X-Men without Wolverine. And he's trying to convince Wolverine to change his mind and come back to the X-Men side. This, of course, takes place before Wolverine gets kicked out of the Avenger jet. Pretty nice artwork. Of course, Wolverine's like, yeah, no, you could talk to me for hours. If you thought coming here was going to change my mind, or you could change my mind, you're wrong. And as Cyclops leaves, though, he says, I kind of figured you weren't going to change your mind, but that doesn't mean all of your students feel, or just because you... Oh, here we go. You're not the only X-Man here. And it turns out, in the end, here's a spoiler for you guys. Husk, Rachel Grey, and Iceman, and Gambit all join... oh, and Angel, and I believe that's Kid Omega that joins him. Oh no, that's Husk. Angel join on the X-Men side. So Angel, Iceman, Rachel Grey, and Husk all go to Cyclops' aid, so to speak. And the Death Commandos sent by Alpha Centaurion are now on Earth to protect his son, Kid Omega. That's what's going to continue in this book, the Kid Omega protection story. As far as Rachel and Gambit and everybody else, you'll be seeing them in Avengers vs. X-Men probably. I know Gambit versus Cap is coming up next week. I believe. Anyway, so we have people who have already joined the X-Men side from Wolverine side of the X-Men already, and it's wow. So this book really ties in a bit to Avengers vs. X-Men. If you're really heavy on keeping the story going, I would highly recommend picking up Wolverine and the X-Men issue 10. This was, if you're only reading Wolverine and the X-Men, this kind of was a pretty slow issue. It really didn't, it only helped add on to the Avengers vs. X-Men story. It didn't help develop much on what happened in the previous issue with Kid Omega and everything. The next issue will probably pick right back up again, though. It was really good. I always recommend Wolverine side when it comes to the X-Men. Okay, the reason I'm doing this book first is because this book actually goes right into the next book, Deadpool issue 54. Deadpool no longer has a healing factor, but now he wants to live again. Go figure. 3 issues later into Dead, and he wants to live again. So now he has to figure out how to live. And why does he want to live? Because he has to protect Bob. Because Tombstone wants to kill Bob now because Bob didn't kill Deadpool. Because he promised Tombstone he would if he gave him the serum. So Deadpool is now protecting Bob, and he wants to live finally again. He's like, this isn't how I wanted to die. I want to die in glory. And there's a bit of a spoiler here. Turns out now that he lost his healing factor, something did fix up on Deadpool. We all know Deadpool's a little messed up in the face. That's kind of changed. For those of you, everybody by now has seen the next Deadpool issue. It's coming out in 2 weeks. And for those of you who didn't, here's Deadpool now. He no longer has a messed up face at all. He's completely healed. His entire face is now healed. He has his hair back, and he's... wow. And Wolverine, of course, can smell. X-Force is also after Deadpool and Bob. Well, really, they're just after Deadpool. It was really cool also in the middle of the issue how Deadpool pins Tombstone against a wall with a delivery truck. And he says, just so you know, this was all my plan, not yours. I used you. You gave me exactly what I wanted. I wanted to die. But it ain't going to be you who pulls the trigger. And yeah, that's basically where he leaves Tombstone. And now he's running from X-Force, and he's like, listen, I know you want to kill me, and I probably deserve to be killed, but not here, not now. And they're like, why? He's like, I got to protect Bob, because Tombstone wants to kill Bob. Give me a chance. I'll come back and kill me, whatever. And instead of killing him, Wolverine says, report for duty in 3 days. And this is what's going to lead into the next book. He's like, I got a lead on a Merc factory you can check out, so don't be late. 3 days. And he's like, thanks. And they go off. And I love the epilogue where Dawkins and Kingpin are talking, and Kingpin actually sends the Red Hand after Tombstone, but I think Tombstone was kind of expecting them. Next story starts a new story arc. I loved the artwork in this book. I showed artwork, right? Yeah, I showed enough artwork. I love the artwork in this book. It ended perfectly. We all knew Deadpool wasn't going to kill himself. So the whole point of Deadpool Reborn, I guess, is now Deadpool is kind of like the Punisher now, if you really think about it. He has no more mutant ability whatsoever. He cannot heal anymore. However, he's a merc, and he's also a really good assassin, mercenary, what have you. So basically you have a crazy Punisher running around now. And we all know at some point Deadpool's just going to get his healing factor back. Maybe he'll keep his face, maybe he won't. We don't know yet. But for right now, he's an insane version of the Punisher. That's the best way to put it. I was talking to Phil, the Captain Cummings, about this, and this is what we were talking about. And we kind of agreed that he's like a Punisher now, basically. I'm keeping this series. It's really good. I'll be back for the next issue. I might actually trade paperback the older story arcs. And it leads into this issue, Uncanny X-Force issue 25, which was $5 this month. Why? Because it's the main story with 2 extra stories added onto it. And it actually says it right here. It's a landmark 25th issue. So we're going to throw in 2 rarely seen stories. Let's start with this. Deadpool is on a lead, from what the Deadpool comic says, in a Merc factory. He's finding out about, he's in there looking for information on one thing, and they're pieces of Omega Red, which were the Omega clan, basically, which were forged from the remains of Omega Red, who was killed. And Deadpool goes MIA for a bit. He goes offline. He's in trouble. Turns out 2 people quit X-Force, and those of you who saw the preview, I'm not spoiling this because it's all over the internet. It's Psylocke and wow, Phantom X. Thank you. Psylocke is still pining over the fact that Angel can't remember a thing about her, and Phantom X leaves because he's in love with Psylocke, and Psylocke doesn't feel anything anymore because she gave up her emotions to save Phantom X to begin with. So, Wolverine and Nightcrawler from the Age of Apocalypse are the last two of X-Force. So they go in to save Deadpool, and it turns out they meet up with the new Omega clan, and they make very short work of Wolverine and Nightcrawler, to be continued. Really awesome. Can't wait for the next issue. Then we get another story, and this one was really good. It's called Purity, and it involves Wolverine. Logan's looking for redemption. He's looking for honor. He wants honor in his life, you know, because he's been a cold-hearted killer all his life. He meets this girl. She takes him out, or takes him to her place for dinner, and it turns out it was all a diversion to lead Wolverine away because her clan wanted to basically, end the